Welcome everyone, and thank you for tuning in to hear my trading and market updates. This is Uncle Frank, and I'm not a financial advisor, nor is any of the content to be construed as financial advice. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. Please remember to hit the like button if you enjoyed the presentation, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you're alerted when I have new information to share. So now let's get into the latest updates. Hey, welcome back everyone. I've got a lot of gold and silver bugs on the channel. I spray, but you can't get rid of them. Just kidding, I love precious metals too. Now, I don't like when I get too tinfoil hat, but I have to say if the world goes digital on currency, the paper money will be worthless, especially for the underground economy. But gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and even copper and aluminum will always have black market value. Gold and silver will always be a form of currency all over the world and in every country. And in the blockchain CBDC world, the governments may again try to make private ownership of gold and silver illegal. I've always suspected that the governments and banks would hate crypto until they could use it to paper over policy mistakes and economic disasters, and that time is rapidly approaching. So here are the reasons I think silver is going to have a good year in 2024. From barchart.com, is silver a sleeping giant? The reason I made this video is the shocking trend I see in the narrowing trading range of silver. Check this out. In 2020, a range of 17.79. In 2021, dropped to 870. Then in 2022, up to 10. But in 2023, silver had a trading range from 1983 to 2620. That's only $6.37, just over a third of what it was in 2020. Now, so far this year, I know we're only in March, it's got a range of $2.14. From the article, silver's narrowing range is a price consolidation that will eventually resolve to the up or downside. That's an understatement. Given gold's performance and the price above the 2,000 per ounce level, the odds favor an upside break. I would agree. Technical resistance in the silver market has dropped to around the $26 per ounce level. Now, I think you may get a violent break out of this narrowing trading range, and I think it'll be to the upside, not investment advice or advisor. Here's the reasons. Gold's continuing bull market has been in place since the 1999 low of 250.50. At 2,095.70 on March 1st, April gold futures were 8.3 times higher. May silver at 23.36 was only 5.8 times higher than the 2001 low of 4.02. Therefore, silver could catch up if gold continues to make new record highs. The potential of a BRICS currency with gold backing and continuing central bank gold purchases is bullish for silver, reflecting a decline in the US dollar's value and role as the world's reserve currency. A weakening dollar in the global financial system supports higher silver prices. Aside from its financial role, industrial demand for silver is also rising. The Silver Institute projects industrial demand to increase by 8% to a record 632 million ounces. Silver's tight trading range in the current environment suggests a significant move when the price moves above or below technical resistance or support levels. Be watching for that. And now for some great headlines on Dune Part 2. Box office triumph. Dune Part 2 shatters expectations. From CNN Business, Dune Part 2 passes Oppenheimer opening weekend at domestic box office with 82.5 million. And from CNBC, IMAX ran out of seats for Dune Part 2, and Legendary Entertainment is interested in Part 3. Now remember guys, the box office is the only place our enemies can't cheat and get away with it, right? I guess we'll just keep breaking their balls until something bad happens to them. And an exciting headline from Total Film. Dune 2 sets new box office records with massive opening weekend. The theaters are dead, right? Dune 2 has completely smashed it out of the park in its opening weekend, breaking multiple box office records and even besting its predecessor. As reported by Variety, director Denis Villeneuve's big-budget sequel to the 2021 sci-fi epic has collected $81.5 million in its U.S. domestic debut and a further $97 million at the international box office, totaling a massive $178 million globally. This crowns Dune 2 as the biggest opening weekend of the year so far, and the only film as of late that even comes close to Taylor Swift's concert film The Eras Tour, which debuted at $93 million in October 2023. As well as setting 2024 records, the sequel has even topped the first film, nearly doubling the opening of Villeneuve's Dune Part 1, which came in at $41 million domestically. I will remind you guys that the first Dune debuted in theaters but also on streaming. This time it was dropped in theaters first only. See why that's important? And now a word on our merchandising business, starting with the Rolling Stone. It's not just that viral Dune Part 2 sandworm. Souvenir popcorn buckets are big business, and collectors are getting serious. And from today, from the New York Times no less, the Dune popcorn bucket and the golden age of movie merch. The hilariously suggestive misfire is a reminder of the days when too weird to be true film mementos could be found in every kitchen cupboard. And what does AMC Investor Relations have to say about all these positive developments? Let's hear from John Merriweather, our VP of Investor Relations. Okay, now let's check in on the primes and hedgies. Well, we know about Credit Suisse being vaporized, and their departing CEO blamed retail. And of course, we know about UBS's problems they inherited from Credit Suisse. But what's this about now? Higher interest rates drag Swiss National Bank to $3.6 billion loss? The Swiss National Bank on Monday posted an annual loss of 3.2 billion Swiss francs for 2023, as a switch to positive interest rates cost it dearly and meant it couldn't pay a dividend for a second straight year. The SNB became the latest central bank to report losses, as higher interest rates imposed to fight inflation forced them to pay billions to commercial lenders. The German central bank last month said it lost 21.6 billion euros last year, wiping out nearly all of its provisions, while its Dutch counterpart lost 3.5 billion euros. For the SNB, gains made from its gold holdings and interest paid on emergency loans granted during the rescue of Credit Suisse were not enough to offset the cost of the central bank's tighter monetary policy. Moving over to the hedgies, this headline caught my eye. February sees slight rise in hedge fund redemptions, SS&C GlobeOp reports. February 2024 sees a slight yet noticeable shift in hedge fund investor sentiment, as indicated by the SS&C GlobeOp Forward Redemption Indicator. Anything that brings them pain and closer to their destruction brings joy to Uncle Frank's heart, and I will continue to monitor them for you until they're a pile of dust on the ground. Well, we've talked about hedge fund redemptions or outflows. Now let's talk about the lack of inflows for the hedgies. From Bloomberg, Weiss Multi-Strategy Hedge Fund to shut down after 46 years. Weiss Multi-Strategy Advisors, LLC, a New York-based investment management firm, started back in 1978, is winding down its operations. A Goldman Sachs report last month found investor appetite for almost every hedge fund strategy this year has diminished from 2023, which was already the weakest year on record for gross inflows. Glad to hear it. So, Uncle Frank, why do we care? Here's why. SEC charges Weiss Asset Management with short selling violations. June 14, 2022, the SEC today announced the investment advisory firm Weiss Asset Management has agreed to pay approximately $6.9 million to settle charges that it violated the federal securities laws when it unlawfully purchased stock in 7 public offerings after selling short those same stocks. The SEC's order finds that on 7 occasions between December 2020 and February 2021, Weiss Asset Management violated Rule 105, which prohibits short selling an equity security during a restricted period, generally 5 business days before a covered public offering, and then purchasing the same security through the offering absent an exception. The rule applies regardless of the trader's intent and promotes offering prices that are set by natural forces of supply and demand rather than potentially manipulative activity. And would you look at this? A 13F from February 12th shows that Weiss Asset Management has 150,000 puts against AMC. So long, Weiss. And the street is starting to get nervous about the events on our calendar, aren't they? From Markets Insider, the upcoming inflation report could spark the stock market's next big sell-off, Fundstrat says. Just because they want it doesn't mean they're going to get it, guys. From the article, the next big catalyst for the stock market is the February CPI inflation report, according to Fundstrat. It will be released on March 12th and will signal to investors whether the Fed could soon cut interest rates. We wonder if this is potentially the fundamental catalyst for a sell-off, Fundstrat said. The pressure is building on the Fed, which is good for our time window. And when the king of bonds starts talking, you should always listen to what he has to say. From Markets Insider, the Fed is held hostage by data and risks sparking financial instability, Mohammed El-Arian says. The Fed's overdependence on data risks financial instability, Mohammed wrote in a recent op-ed for Bloomberg. He says the central bank became too focused on inputs after misreading inflation in 2021. Holding interest rates up for too long risks a recession, he said. Theaters do great during recessions. You can't shake Uncle Frank. I'm long one theater stock and one cryptocurrency right now, and that's XRP. Speaking of crypto, from Reuters, only an hour ago, Bitcoin bursts above 68,000. Record high comes into view. Bitcoin rallied to a 2-year high on Monday, breaking above 68,000 as a wave of money carried it within striking distance of record levels. The price hit a session high of 68,580 and was last at 68,161. Bitcoin hit a record of 68,999 in November of 2021. Can you feel something coming, guys? Can you feel the pressure building? At the time of this recording, I've got Bitcoin at 67,889. And for my fellow XRP fans, I've got her just under 66 cents at 0.6569, up 30.63% over the past month. Hey, I want to thank you for watching, and please remember to hit the like button after this slide if you enjoyed the presentation. Subscribe to the channel and set the alert so you're notified when I have new information to share. See you at the bell.